Welcome into your tiny reading for this week. I am T from Tiny Divinations, coming in to break down the cards with you. So, as usual, we have three different piles. Pick the pile or piles you are drawn to, and I will see you in your reading. Welcome in, pile one. Let's get into your cards. So, the first card you have is from the Lucille Clifton Divining Poets deck. Is a fish black, blind, in the belly of water? Is a diamond blind in the black belly of coal? The other energy cards you have are lightning, disruption, and yield, patience. So, starting with our Divining Poets card in terms of the energy for this week, the meaning behind this card to me has to do with the idea that just because you can't see something doesn't mean it's not working, doesn't mean things aren't happening, doesn't mean someone else can't see or something else can't survive, right? Is a black fish blind in the belly of water? We know that we can't survive, right? We can't see in the darkest depths of water, but there are a number of ocean creatures that can, that have adapted, that can not only live but thrive and grow and multiply, and the same thing with diamonds, right? Just because diamonds grow in the darkness, just because they grow in cold, don't make them any less shiny. So part of the energy of this week has to do with us having faith, with us having the understanding and the knowing that even though we can't see the inner workings of things, or even though we can't see what's coming, that things are being worked out, that things are coming, that there are opportunities, that things are still moving and growing, and shiny, beautiful, lucrative, thriving things. Part of this card has me thinking that part of the energy that we're feeling in pile one may be like doubt. There may be anxiety, there may be concern about, the unknown, what's coming, what may not be coming, what ifs, what could be. There's this energy of also being worried about the future, worried about opportunities, worried about what's next. So that's part of what comes up to me with this card. Like I said, just because you can't see that things can work that way doesn't mean they aren't already, or that they can't, you know, because a diamond still shines even in the blackest coal, right? And fish are able to see in the darkest depths. Some of them glow in the dark, some of them bring their own light, you know what I mean? So that's part of what I get from this card. Moving into these cards in terms of the energy for the week. So, um, with the lightning card, you have the wing of a plane, and then this lightning, which is either seemingly behind it, or it looks like it's striking the plane. So the energy of this says to me that there may be things unexpected that happen this week. There may be some unexpected scares. There may be things that bring shock, or a little bit of like trauma. There may be things that happen that are out of our control, things that just come up. Um, it also made me think of the perspective of being on the plane if this was to happen. And so I can only imagine how fearful or scared that would be. You'd also have to keep yourself calm in the situation. I'm sure you then have flight attendants that would give you directions of things. So there may be situations this week that things go awry or things get scary, and you have to keep yourself calm, or you have to find a solution, or you have to be the flight attendant in a sense and direct everybody else, and or you may need to look to someone else to help find solutions, or to help guide you in what would be the best way to navigate whatever is going on. You also have the yield card, the yield patience, right? And in the yield card, you have this huge tree behind the yield card. So you can't see what's coming up, or what's, beyond this tree. And so, similar to the disruptions card, it makes me feel like there are unforeseen things that may happen this week. There are things that may come up that you're not expecting, or you're not thinking about, or like I said, you have no control over. Okay. Um, the yield sign also has the patience on it. So regardless of what happens this week, it feels like I said, keep yourself calm, be as clear-minded as you can be in the situation. Also, don't lose your cool. Don't um, make rash decisions. The yield sign also is not a stop sign, so that's something to pay attention to. Okay. If it was a stop sign, then it would suggest that what we are doing or what's happening, there is no coming back from, or there's no getting around it, or whatever. A yield sign suggests that there's a temporary stop, that it's momentary, that it's not necessarily something that's going to keep you down, or something that's going to keep happening, or something that's going to happen for long, but that you need to just like stop, look around like you would with a yield sign, make sure there's no obstructions, make sure there's nothing blocking you or in your way before you continue to move. Okay. So that is a little bit of what I get from these cards. Um, I am going to pull some more cards about the energy for this week, but I would like to see kind of why we have some of this disruption going on. Okay. So we are continuing to use the sign of the time cards to ask more about the disruptions. Okay, we have obstacles. Clouds. And focus on the bottom. Okay, so we have mountains, obstacles, and clouds, distractions, with bullseye, focus on the bottom. So part of the reasons why we have disruptions this week, it feels like, is because there's obstacles, right? There is definitely something, it feels like some of us may have to get through or get over or get around. There may be different paths that we have to take, like I said before, to get to a solution. Because we have a road in this card, it may just take longer to get to where you're trying to go, or get something done, or get things taken care of. It feels like how sometimes like in a movie, it's like they're trying to get to a destination, but like something happens and they just keep getting detoured, and like you have to go over here, and these like random side quests. It feels like that may be part of the energy that comes up this week as well. With the clouds card, with the distractions, part of the obstacles may be because we're not paying attention. We have the clouds between the obstacles and the focus card, right? So pay attention to what you're actually doing. Some people may still be like in vacay mode. You may not actually be like have your head where you are, or like have your head in the game in a sense, right? And you need to get your head in the game, because if not, it's going to cause you to make mistakes. It may cause you to not catch something that you could have caught before. It may cause you not to be able to find a solution, and have things take longer to fix or to make happen than you'd like them to. So definitely make sure you're paying attention. Not only paying attention, but like being present in the moment. If you are distracted by something else, if you are thinking about something else, or if you're rushing trying to get to something else, all of this can cause issues. Okay. So like it says, be patient. Not only be patient, but like be present. Okay. Be where you are in that moment. Focus on those things. If something else is going on in your mind, take a second to clear it and get that shit out, and then get back to what you need to get to, so that you can make the best decisions, so that you can move from the clearest spaces. Okay. Because again, we have the bull's eye focus. So there's things you definitely need to get done this week. There's things that need to be submitted or finished, or looked at or finalized, or ramped up. Like it seems like things have already been started, but you need to get back to it, or something like that. So you know make sure that your mind is clear, so that you can do the things you need to do. And we're working smarter, not harder. Okay. Because the less that your head is in the game, the less that um you are patient and relaxed, the more mistakes you'll have, the more obstacles that will come up in your way, the more shit that you can't control will disturb you, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm getting from the energy for this week. Let's move into the specific things that will happen this week. Okay, so moving into some of the specific things that may happen this week, I didn't realize that my microphone had died, so I had pulled these cards when the microphone was dying, did not realize, so I apologize. These are the cards that we pulled for the specific things that may happen this week. So we have compassion, self love, surrender, nature, self discipline, and individuality. And these are from the numerology guidance cards. So, some of the things that may happen this week, starting with compassion. We definitely will find moments this week where, like I said, there are things that are happening that are upsetting, that are maybe a little traumatic or terrifying or inciting fear. So we definitely need to try to be as kind with ourselves as we can be, which is why we have compassion right next to the self love. Within that, try not to project things that are happening with you in you onto other people, right? That's part of being kind. Um, Part of also being kind, kind is different than nice. Okay, kind still has no's, kind still has boundaries. So like do what's in your capacity to do within being kind to others and being kind to yourself at the same time, right? So like that says setting boundaries or saying no in those moments that like you are at your capacity. Okay. Within that, like I said, recognizing that you don't want to project onto other people, but also recognizing that just as much as you may have this kind of week happening, other people may have this kind of week happening. So be compassionate in that way and recognizing that like if somebody is giving you attitude or giving you shit or being negative, that it may be a projection, that it may be based on something that they got going on, and you don't have to pick that shit up just as much as you wouldn't want them to pick up your projection, that you placed onto them. So that's something to definitely be mindful of this week. And if things happen that are out of your control but somehow you want to put onto you, again, compassion, right? Being kind to yourself, giving yourself grace, being reflective, being realistic in what you have control over and what you don't have control over, things like that. I'm going to go down now to the nature card. Um, Part of, like I said, being kind is setting boundaries and recognize your own capacity and recognizing where you need and what you need. And part of what you need this week feels like air. It feels like part of what you may need this week will be air. It may be taking a walk. It may be, like I said, in those moments where you get overwhelmed or where shit is too much. Like I said before, just taking a break, taking a literal breather, right? Doing breath work, and breath exercises, getting outside as much as you can, going to spaces where you feel calm and comfortable, going to water to clear yourself, grounding if it's available to you, but like utilizing the nature that's outside of human beings is part of what we need to add in this week, especially if shit is going awry, especially if things are outside of your control, right? Just going outside and being in a space where you are just a part of the all in a sense, or there's nothing for you to do or think about. It's just there for you to be in it, right? Is really a part of what can help reset you, like rejuvenate you, um, recalibrate you this week. Okay. We then have self love and self discipline. And I think it's interesting that both of these cards start with the self. Okay. So some of the specific things that you may have happen this week are moments where you have to remind yourself who the fuck you are, especially, like I said, in those moments of disruption or an upset or things like that. You have to come back into self. And not only do you have self love and self discipline, but you have individuality right next to it. So it's like this line of remembering who you are, what you have, what you've come from, what you've come through, what you've accomplished. Okay, building yourself back up to remember those things, motivating yourself in the moments where things don't seem to be going right, when you don't want to do whatever it is that you're being tasked with or you have to do, um, to continue to persevere even in the dark that we talked about in the previous card. So like that's some of the things that comes up with these cards. This week may bring up moments where you have to like clarify your plan or clarify your goals or prioritize things. Like I said, you may need to remotivate yourself or motivate yourself to get shit done or to do something despite whatever may happen this week. There's also this need with the self love and the individuality to like prioritize yourself this week. There may be moments where you lose yourself or you forget that you need to prioritize yourself. And so making sure that you add that in is really important. making sure you dwell on the things that are important to you, the ways in which you are like good and not your negatives or not your drawbacks or flaws. Trying to redirect your fears and anxieties to like what you can have, your dreams, who you are, um, what you love about yourself, what you love about your life, what opportunities are available to you right now, like things like that are also part of what comes up this week. Because, like I said, we have that fear and that anxiety that may come up. So, part of what we need to do is redirect and remind us again who the fuck we are. You then have the surrender card. And the surrender card says to me that there are things, like I said, that may happen where we don't have control over it, right? We have to just let whatever happens happen. So there may be particular moments this week, excuse me, where things don't go the way that you want them to go, or like I said, where you have a thought that it's going to go one way and then it goes the complete opposite way, and you have to just let it be as it's going to be, or you have to just let go of the outcome that you thought you were going to have, or you just have to, be okay in a sense with whatever it is, knowing that, whatever is happening in the dark is still working out for you, that, or whatever is happening is making you more adaptable to the spaces and places that more spaces and places, you know what I mean? And so that's part of what I get with this. It's about being detached from the things that kind of happen this week, not holding on to anything, being able to let go of things they're asking to be released, being able to move through whatever's happening without holding on to what is or whatever the outcome is or what you think may happen, not allowing your fears, like I said, to overcome that, just kind of being okay, sitting with a it is what it is kind of energy. And it is what it is because, again, the self love, the self discipline, the things we're putting in and recognizing because of who we ultimately are. Okay. Also, with the individuality card, part of how you may be able to find a solution or find a way forward is by being your authentic self, is by doing things that only you would think of, is by doing it the way that only you would do it, is by, being true to how you think and who you are, and not allowing yourself to be swayed by outside influence or allowing yourself to be swayed by fears or anxieties, like we talked about before, but really sitting in what you know and who you are, and the confidence and like the self love, and allowing that to be able to help you make solutions and to help you find solutions and to make plans and to prioritize and to pivot, because there are ways in which you'll have to pivot, like we talked about this week. And in some cases, only you will know how to do that in the best way. So if you have an idea or if you have thought or you need to speak up about something, then you need to do that. Okay. Don't allow yourself to be to play it small. Like this is the week where you really need to stand up in your shit and speak up and share and show what you can do. So that is what we get for the specific things that may happen this week. Let's end your reading with some self care. Okay, so ending our reading with some self-care. We have meditate, make a vision board, and read. So I think part of the reason why meditate came out, because we need to focus, because we need to clear our minds, because we need to get back into ourselves. You also have the nature of it, and you have this person outside, sitting outside, grounding, getting back into themselves, excuse me, getting one with nature. And that's part of what we talked about. So in whatever ways you're able to meditate this week, whether that is guided meditation, whether that is quiet focused meditation, whether that is moving meditation, however it's available to you, um, definitely try to utilize that and get back in yourselves in the moments when things get maybe too much or overwhelming, or you need to relax, or you need to get clear, so that you're able to tap in and, like I said, be able to make the best decisions. You then have make a vision board, and that makes total sense to me because, like I said, we had those fears of the unknowns. We had those feelings of um, not not necessarily feeling as confident in ourselves, which is why we have the self doubt, not feeling as motivated, which is why we have the self discipline. And we talked about needing to prioritize in certain cases. So I think making a vision board just allows you to remember what you want and to be able to align more with those energies, not necessarily in things that you need to be actionably doing, but in order to motivate you to start to even think about things that you may want to do or things that may help you get to these places, help you to remember the dream or the goals, or to reinvigorate you and to help motivate you. Okay. And then you have read, and I feel like read to me, similar to meditate, is just about like taking you out of your headspace, bringing you into a space of oneness, a space of clarity, a space where you're kind of focused on one thing. And in certain cases, it does allow you to um, have new ideas and new visions, and build on the dreams that you have. But in some cases, what you're reading is just able to kind of take you out of being all over the place and bring you back into a present space. There's also some people that need to be reading specifically like self-help books, things that can help motivate you, things that can help bring you back into a place of knowing like who you are, or um, what you want to do, or that kind of energy. So these are the self-care cards that you have for the week, and this was your reading pile one. So thank you so much for reading with me. If you'd like your own reading, book with me at wildheartbotanica.com. I have 3 different reading offerings that are email, and 2 different live offerings. If you are not already subscribed to our podcast, Tiny Musings, definitely listen to our monthly collective reading for January. You can listen on Substack, Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're not already subscribed on YouTube, subscribe here. Like this reading. Let me know how this week is for you. Let me know how these messages resonate. Excuse me. If you're not following me on socials, follow me there at Tiny Divinations. And again, thank you so much for reading with me. I appreciate y'all so much. I hope that these messages resonate, they make sense, they give you clarity. If you have another pile, I will see you there. If not, I will see you in our next reading. Welcome in pile 2. Let's get into your reading. So the first card you have is from Divining Poets. It is your own lush self you hunger for. And then your accompanying energy cards are Firefly, Wonder, and Globe, Possibility. So starting with our Lucille Clifton Divining Poets card, it is your own lush self you hunger for. The first thing I thought of when I pulled this card, it made me think of you're the one you're looking for, or you're who you're searching for, right? The things that you're looking for are all inside of you. And I know these are all really cliche, but that's what it made me feel, right? Part of the energy for this week is about what you're searching for and what you're looking for, because it has the word lush very specifically. It feels like people are searching for more. You want more abundance, you want more wealth, you want a more relaxed and easy life. You want things to come to you. You want to luxuriate. You want to live more richly, in a sense. And the ways in which you are looking for that, or the things that you are trying to attain or bring to life to make it feel more fulfilling, according to this card, are already around you, inside you, available to you. And the energy of the card, like I said, brings in the energies that I feel like we're feeling this one, or this week, excuse me, of wanting more, of trying to attain, of like, you know, being dreamy and kind of looking out to what could be, and remembering that you can like you're the master of your destiny is what I just heard in my head. And I feel like there's ways in which that will be shown to you this week. So I know that that sounds kind of like la 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 la, you know what I mean? Like 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 a bad TV psychic in a sense, but like because of this card plus the Firefly, Wonder, and the global possibilities, like there is this air of dreaminess. There is this air of like what could be and like wishing on a star and, you know, kind of looking out and thinking about the glass half full as opposed to half empty, you know? We also have the Firefly Wonder card. So, in terms of the energies of this week, I feel like this week may be a more playful one for you. You may be more playful this week. There may be more fun that you're having this week. There may be fun things to do. You may be working with your inner child in a way that's not like more on the emotional side, but more so on like the playful side in terms of like eating things that you like to eat as a kid or watching things that you like to watch or doing things that make you feel light and fun and free and effortless, being around people that make you feel that way. If you have the opportunity to go out and do things, definitely take that this week. It feels like if that's not something that you're feeling, then that's something that you need to bring in. It also feels like the Firefly reminds me of like when you're a little kid and we're playing and we're like making up games and stories and things like that. So it feels like there's this energy this week that you have where you're just, like I said, more playful, or the people around you may be more playful. Um, you may be able to just see things in a different perspective, in a lighter way, in a more fun way. Things may roll off your back. You may make like a game out of life more this week, if that makes sense. You also have the globe possibilities card. So there is energy where, like I said, you feel more optimistic. It feels like you're looking out to what could be, or what you could do, or what you could have, or what you could see. There's also this energy of like literally looking towards places that you could go, whether that's to visit or to live, or looking for more experiences or looking to do things outside of your norm. So, like I said before, if you get to do something like that, then definitely this is a great week for you to do that, for you to take the chance and know that it would more than likely be something fun. And it just feels like there's this like energy of looking out, not just like future looking out, but just looking out around you, seeing what else there is, of wanting to explore, of wanting to have more adventure. So that's part of the energy that I feel like comes up this week. Let's pull some cards and see what else comes up. So we will continue by using the Sign of the Times Oracle, as we already have, to get some more energies for this week. Flamingo, fun. Sunflower, action. And then skull, endings. So, like I already said, part of the reason we had the wonder and the possibilities is because we want more adventure, we want more fun. I feel like that's why we have the action and the fun card. We want to do more, we're motivated to do more, we want to see more things. We want to bring more lush to life, which looks like making shit more vibrant, making it look different than it does. I feel like there's people that feel like their life is really dull and boring, like you do the same shit all the time, and you kind of just want to mix it up. You want to live like you see other people living. For some people, part of why you have this wonder and this open to possibilities is because you have had something that just ended, or you moved in a different way, or you are in a space where you are releasing something and letting things go. So you're looking towards what a life looks like in a different space or a different place or as a different person. You're also growing in new ways. And so I feel like part of that energy is coming up because you're also recognizing that you're kind of different. And part of that is why you're ready to like branch out and grow and move on in a sense. And it feels like you're happy, and part of you being happy is part of what's pushing your excitement and pushing you to look for what else can be. So that's what I'm getting for the energy of this week. Let's pull some cards and get some specific things that may happen. Okay, so using the numerology guidance cards to look into some specific things that may happen this week. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, so specific things that may happen this week, we have effort, teaching and learning, financial discipline, forgiveness, and spirituality. Okay. It feels like the first thing we have is effort. So it feels like I said, we're definitely motivated to do things. We're motivated to look for things, to start things, to get things done this week. It feels like we may be proactive with doing things this week. So you may start something new. You may start to do something that you've been talking about, or start to do something that is on your list that you didn't have to necessarily do right now, but you're just like trying to get a jump on things. It feels like you're just like kind of like ready to move, ready to do things. You then have teaching and learning. And specifically, I feel like there are people that are ready to enroll in classes. You've been thinking about certain classes, or you've been thinking about learning something specific or new, and finding a teacher, a class, a way to learn that, through YouTube University or whatever. So that's something that may come up this week. And whether you actually start it, because you have the effort card right next to that. So whether you actually start it, or whether you actually research it, or you're like proactive in some way about that. Um, you then have the financial discipline card. And what I thought in terms of financial discipline was that it feels like people want to start budgeting this week, or you start making financial plans. You start looking at your bills. You start looking at what you've spent, or you've been spending the past year, the past month, or past few weeks or whatever. You start being more disciplined about how much you spend on the things that you want versus the things that you need. You start wanting to save more, or start wanting to um, spend less on eating out, or like on certain things. But it feels like you start kind of tightening up your budget, or you start like looking at your finances, or you start thinking about bringing in more, or something like that also this week. With the teaching and learning, that doesn't just have to be people enrolling in things. It may also look like you teaching other people things this week. But it feels, if you're teaching, it feels more informal. So even if it is like you teaching a number of people, it may look like it's something online, or outside of a traditional space. Or it could just look like you like teaching somebody how to do something, you know what I mean? Like a life skill or something like that. We then have forgiveness. And the forgiveness card under the effort and the teaching and learning card feels um, like whatever it is that either you are forgiving, you are wanting to have closure on, somebody else wants forgiveness on, or whatever. It feels like these three cards together feels like it's a teachable moment. You know what I mean? Like being able to either put in the effort to apologize, or to make amends, or to, excuse me, put in the effort to hear this person out and actually have a conversation. um is like I said, a teachable moment. You learn, you recognize, you put in the lessons. And it just feels like, it feels, number one, it feels cyclical, and number two, it feels like I said, the overarching theme feels like a teachable moment. So if you have a situation where you could have a conversation with somebody, or there is moments of possible forgiveness, um, come into it from a space of wanting to listen and be heard, of wanting to ultimately have forgiveness. And forgiveness doesn't mean that you have to forget. It doesn't mean you have to keep fucking with them. Okay. But like come to it from a space of wanting to either hear them out, or make amends, or understand from their perspective. And, I feel like that helps with being able to have that forgiveness. And like I said, there are people that it's not necessarily with somebody else. It's something that you need to sit with and like come to terms with and recognize what you learned from it and your part in it, and how we can grow and learn from the situation and have our own forgiveness without having to necessarily be in contact or in space with the person who hurt us and or that we hurt. Then the last card we have is spirituality. And so there is something specific about our spiritual connection this week, our connection with our ancestors, our spiritual team, our connection with a higher being, whether that be, from a specific religion or just from a universal perspective, or from like an animism perspective, whatever your relationship is, there's something about um, either needing to call on your spiritual team this week or call on your people or utilize your spiritual gifts or like sit with your spirituality somehow, or somehow that comes up this week, which is why the card is there. So it's either leading you to have to solidify that or like answer questions within yourself, or brings up questions um, that also, like, all of these things may also have to do, like I said, with your ancestors. So it may be that you're thinking about your ancestors, wanting to know more about them, wanting to talk more to them, wanting to connect more. It may be that you are wanting to connect more with spirituality in general and find your place or your space. So, like, that may be part of what comes up. We also talk a little bit about that in the monthly collective reading. So, if you're not already subscribed to that, or if you haven't already listened, definitely go listen to that on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Substack or wherever you listen to podcasts. But that is part of what comes up to me with the spirituality. There's something about our spiritual selves and our spiritual connection that is either enhanced or questioned or comes up this week in some way, shape, or form. Like I said, in whatever iteration that is, whether it's ancestral or celestial in terms of our spiritual team, or like um, specific spirits that we deal with, think about, are curious about in general. That also makes me think of that read card. So if this does resonate, there may be something that you want to look more into, read about, go back into the books that you already have and see if something new pops out or comes to you or something like that. So that is what I get in terms of the specifics for this week. We are going to end your reading with the best self-care for this week. Okay, so ending our reading with the best self-care for this week. Oh, all right. We have chanting, dream journal, alone time, and time with animals. Okay. So part of the best self-care we have right now is chanting. Chanting helps connects you with sound, your own inner sound, your voice, um, the one sound in a sense. I feel like chanting can be any word or sound that you want to make that feels good. Just a matter of like finding your voice. It's also helpful in terms of things that we need to release. Um, it feels like for some people, there are specific songs that you can sing that help you connect to a certain vibration, release something specific that you need to release, um, channel something that you need to channel. Like that's something that comes up with the chanting. There are also specific chants that go with each of the chakra sounds. So, starting with the root chakra, the chant is Lam. You then have the sacral chakra. The chant is Vam. The chant for solar plexus chakra is Ram. For the heart chakra, it's Yam. For the throat, it's Ham. For the third eye, and for the crown chakra, it's Om. And you can say any of these as, you know, deeply or as lightly as you want to, as loudly or silently as you want to. Um, it's just a matter of like playing with it, seeing what feels comfortable. There are other specific chants that mean things that you can go find if that resonates with you. But like I said, it's just a matter of like really tapping in. Chanting helps you to tap into yourself, it helps you to tap into your body, it helps you to tap into your voice, it helps you to tap into the sounds of the universe. So that's definitely something to work on, to play with this week. You then have dream journal, and because we had the spirituality card and the last set of cards, there may be messages that are coming to you right now. There may be things that you need to pay attention to in your dreams. So part of why you get dream journal is so that you can know to write down whatever you see, whatever comes up. It does not have to make sense to you. Okay, it may make sense later. It may lead to another dream, and putting all those things together may make sense. So like, don't dismiss what you see, what you feel, what you hear in your dream space. Okay, the other thing that I like to tell my clients is to, if it's helpful to you, either leave a notebook or your notes app open on your phone, or leave your voice memos or like your voice recorder open on your phone, so that when you wake up, you immediately just grab the notebook, you grab the phone, or you just start speaking, especially if you leave the voice memo app on. Just start, as soon as you wake up, just start saying whatever you saw, whatever you feel, whatever happened, so that you don't miss it. And I always say this to y'all. If you've read with me before personally, if you've followed me for a while, I say this. This is my theory. You don't have to believe me, but I'm telling you it's true. Do not pee before you write the shit down. Do not pee before you say it. I know you're going to think to yourself, no, it's okay, I'm going to remember. That's what you're going to think to yourself when you first wake up and you really have to pee really bad. Bitch, I don't care. Okay? Say that shit to yourself in your voice memo while you're walking to the bathroom. Write that shit down. Have sleep while you're walking to the bathroom. Do not pee before you get the things down. Water is a conduit. As soon as you piss, okay, the conduit is gone. The information be gone too, baby. I'm telling you, if you want to play, you can try it. See if I'm right. You will see I am. Okay. So write that shit down and then go pee. Okay. And you see, even in the next card, the water comes after. Okay. That has nothing to do with that. But I'm an intuitive reader, bitch. So, like, it all goes together. Okay. Anyway, then we have alone time. Okay. So part of the best self-care for this week is to like be by yourself, is to separate yourself, is to recharge your energy, is to kind of be in your own world and be doing your own thing. Because like, what is she actually doing? Who knows? But she's having a good time. She's with herself and she's feeling good. And so that's part of what you need to do this week as well. Like I said, getting out, having fun, and also coming in, recharging, having fun with yourself, recognizing what fun looks like in different forms, um, resting, recharging, rejuvenating. I also feel like that's part of why you had the spend time with animals card. Again, it's like comfort, rest, rejuvenation, nurture. Again, tapping into the energies of the universe and things that are around you. Animals have their own special vibration. They also, with their vibrations, affect ours. They can recognize the changes in our energy and our field, and they can, use theirs to um, heal and help our own. For example, cats purring has like scientifically been said to help heal people. So connecting with animals um, and your softer side is also something that helps you connect with yourself this week. So this is the self-care that we have for this week, pile two, and this is your reading. So thank you so much for reading with me. If you'd like your own personal reading, book with me at wildheartbotanica.com. I have 3 different email options and 2 live options. If you're not already subscribed to the podcast, like I mentioned, Tiny Musings, so you can listen to our monthly collective and all the other episodes that we have come out. Definitely subscribe on Substack, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel. and follow me on TikTok and on Instagram at Tiny Divinations. And again, thank you so much for reading with me. I appreciate y'all so much. Let me know how your week is. Share the reading with somebody who needs it. And if you have another pile, I will see you there. If not, I will see you in your next reading. Welcome in pile 3. Let's get into your cards. So the first card you have is from Lucille Clifton, Divining Poets deck. The small gatherings gathered in sorrow or joy. Then the other energy cards you have for this week are Moon, Emotions, and Anchor, Stability. So starting with the first card that we have, the small gatherings gathered in sorrow or joy. I feel like the energy of this card is specifically speaking to communities and being grateful for the communities that we have, recognizing that having community, cultivating it, embracing it, those are all things that you can have that are available to you. And that's whether these are people like physically in your life or if they're parasocial relationships. Like community is important. We're not put here to be alone or by ourselves. And especially in times when we're going through emotions or we're moving through things, like it says, whether they're times of sorrow or joy, whether they're good things or, negative things, you have having people around you to be able to support you, to vent to be able to talk to about these things, to share them with is important. Okay. And it's important to recognize the people that you have and to utilize those support systems. We then have the emotions card. And so part of the energy that the emotions card is bringing up this week is similar to the emotions brought up in the first card. It feels like there's energy that we will feel, maybe happy, sad, angry, um, you know, resentful, joyous. Like we'll have all of these emotions this week, kind of coming up, either where you're kind of feeling emotions all over the place or you're kind of going from like one thing to another thing, where you almost feel like erratic, like your emotions may feel erratic in a sense. There may be things coming up this week in terms of the energy where there are emotions that you had hidden or emotions that you haven't been dealing with that come up for you to deal with this week. There may be emotions that come up for others because, all of these things may be happening to you, but they may also be happening to other people this week as well. And those feelings and emotions that come up for them may then in turn somehow affect you. So that's part of the energy that comes up. The moon having like this sliver of light to it also suggests that there may be some things that come up that bring up emotions that may be like new information, things that are coming to light in a sense this week that you may not have known about, or that you didn't have all the information or it wasn't confirmed or whatever. So that may also come up. So that's part of the energy for this week. You then have the anchor card. And so it feels like with the emotions and the things that may come up this week, it feels like sitting in what is stable, what you have, what's consistent may kind of help to balance out those energies. It excuse me, it may also help you to kind of stay close to your home or your home base or places that feel like home, to help you feel grounded, to help you feel stable in times when you may be feeling, like I said, all over the place or heightened emotions or, a little bit more unstable in terms of your emotions and feelings. Um, the door has the anchor in the middle. And so it suggests also the house is made out of brick. So it suggests places where you feel like strong, protected, fortified. And that can be with people, like we talked about with the gatherings. That could be with a group of people. That could be with a specific person. That could be in specific places or spaces. That could be in your own home. Okay. So, like, making sure you have these things and that you sit in, like I said, the things that anchor you, so that you can balance the other emotions that you're feeling and the other energies that we have this week, is really important. So let's get some more cards to see what other energies we have at play. Okay, so we are using the Sign of the Time oracles as we already have in our first set of cards. And I kind of want to see why we're feeling the emotions, like why we have the emotions coming up, or um, what we're feeling emotional about this week. Okay, so we have personal power. Is there anything else? And then surrender. And on the bottom, we have action. Okay, so we have crown, personal power, water, surrender, and like I said, sunflower, action on the bottom. So it feels like part of why we're emotional this week is because of the things that we have to do, kind of because of the weight that we have to bear, because of the things that we have to take care of, because of the ways in which there are things that are out of our control with that we may not want to do, but we have to do. Because for some of us, there are things that we are creating or trying to start or get off the ground. And again, there are ways in which we don't know what that's going to look like or how it's going to go. And we have to just flow with what is, whether that's based on the things that are weighing on you or the things that you're trying to manifest and to like create out of nothing in a sense, because this is art. And like I said, the ways in which we have to flow with the seasons that we're in, or flow with what we're presented with, or flow with the energies that are at play, and that brings in these high highs and these low lows, and all of the things in between, and this need to go back into this nesting space, or this um you know having your foundation or your stability, and your security on your mind. So that feels like the energies that are kind of at play, and wanting at the end of the day to be able to get shit done, or to do it, or to do more, so it feels like that's some of the energy that comes up for pile 3 this week. Let's move into some specific things that may happen this week. Okay, so we are using the numerology guidance cards. Oh, shit flying out. And it's things that we got in previous piles, so that's interesting. So individuality, spirituality, we have 11 and 77, which I don't know why, but those numbers jumped out to me, unlike other piles. We then have follow your dreams, moderation, love partnership, and domestic harmony. So I just want to pull some clarifiers in terms of individuality, because okay, so the clarifier we got was the 7 of Wands reverse. So the individuality card specifically, there are ways in which you may want to fight against yourself this week, or you may like talk yourself out of things, or convince yourself that something isn't what it is, or convince yourself to delete something or scrap something or start again, when you really should just sit with it for a second. That's what this card feels like. It feels like there are ways in which you're fighting against the authenticity of yourself. where you are kind of being your own worst critic or your own harshest critic. Um, and you need to stop. Like, specifically, you need to stop. Okay. And then I'm gonna get a clarifier for spirituality. Like I said, because we got these two cards in the last reading, I'm just curious, specifically for y'all, what the meaning is. Okay. So we have the Six of Pentacles and the Nine of Swords. So in terms of spirituality, um, my first thought with these cards is how much are you relying on faith or your like your spiritual beliefs, and how much are you relying on you having to do it, you know, or your ego's belief of how it has to go or how it has to happen. There's something specifically this week about um, you needing, so for people that do works, for practitioners, you needing to actually do work um, to help you get out of a negative space, a fearful space. So like head washing, a road opening, a clearing, working for your mind, a working for clarity, a working to release negative entities or energies or thoughts or feelings or, you know, banishment, things like that, to help get some of that off you, to ask for those of you who may not do work to ask for help from higher energies, entities, to help you, um, like I said, get into a better headspace, to be more hopeful, to be more encouraged. For some people, it's to be less in isolation, to know where to go, to know who to be around, to um, be more clear. Okay, so for some people, that's very specific. But if in general, it's like relying on your spiritual practice or your praxis, and or the spirits that you work with, rely on, commune with. Okay. You then have the follow your dreams card. So there's ways in which this week we're being specifically asked to, like I said, let go of our fears, to overcome our anxieties, to overcome the things that we're doubtful about, to put the things that we want, that we believe, that we are aiming for, in the forefront, to put the things that make us feel good, so that kind of draw you to wanting more of that in the forefront, right? It feels like the moderation card is next to it, more so because um, there are there are things that you do a lot of that are like detrimental in a way. So for example, there are some people that like scroll too much or scroll too long, or you're like bed rotting, which I fucking hate that term, but like some people are literally doing it where you're just laying there, you're not doing shit else, you know what I mean? And so it feels like the moderation card is talking about that. There's people that want to have, you have certain health goals, but you just like binge, you know what I mean? So there's ways in which we need to bring moderation and have recognition of the things that we're doing in excess that are a hindrance to us. And it feels like it'll come up this week. For some people, it's just like you'll just recognize it. For some people, it feels like a recognition because something happens, and you then have to like sit with that. You know what I mean? And then, you know, we have to, like I said, you know, figure out how to change the habit or to release the habit, or, you know, however it kind of works out with whatever the individual thing is. We then have the love partnership card. So we have people that are thinking about love, relationships, dating. Your love life and dating life may be somehow at the forefront this week. There are people. It's okay. It's funny because in the monthly collective reading, in our love and dating portion, I basically say that people are not interested in dating. But it feels like it's funny because I say people aren't interested in dating because of the bad past situations that they've had. And it's funny because in this pile, and y'all should definitely go listen to our monthly collective to get more insight about that, especially because of these cards. But in this pile, it feels like there's people this week, it comes up in terms of um, the ways you've been injured by love in a sense, or the jadedness you feel because of the things that have happened to you, or things that have happened to others. But there's still a part of you that is thinking about dating this week, or love, or relationships, or wanting to date, or like past situations. So whether that's because somebody comes up, or because it's just part of the emotions that come up that we talked about, um, or it just feels like somehow it's like you are jaded by it, but you're still interested in it somehow. And so somehow that comes up this week. I'm not exactly sure, but um yeah, somehow that comes up this week. Love, dating, relationships, ultimately wanting that. I feel like that also has something to do with the follow your dreams, and getting over those fears and anxieties to follow your dreams. What you want is not what you've had. Okay, what you want is not what you've had, and you have to recognize that you've learned enough lessons, or you want to have known that you've learned enough lessons to not have that happen. If you don't believe that, then there's still lessons for us to learn. It's not something to be fearful of. It's more so that there's more work to do, you know? And then we have the domestic harmony card. And like I said before, with the first card, we had the stability card and the anchor. I feel like there is a nesting quality to this week. It feels like our home being tidy and clean and comfortable is part of, like I said before, what we need to rejuvenate, what we need to feel safe, what we need to also help us to overcome some of those more negative or tense feelings that we had. I was just trying to see if there was any clarifier for the domestic harmony, and it doesn't feel like it. Yeah, so I'm on the right track. It may be a time of needing to work on your relationship to your home, to spaces that you call home, to making your space feel more like home, or finding spaces and places and people that feel like home. That may come up this week, recognizing what does and what doesn't, recognizing that you don't have spaces that feel like that, or recognizing that your home doesn't feel like that, or recognizing that your home does and you don't utilize that space as much as you should. So these are some of the things that come up in terms of some of the specific things that may come up for this week. Um, a domestic harmony may also look like moving into something else that feels more like you, or more comfortable, or more like home. So yeah, but these are the things that come up for this week in terms of specifics. Let's end your reading with the self-care that's best for your week. Okay, so ending our reading for pile 3 with the best self-care for this week. We have connect with your ancestors and sync with the moon. And on the bottom, we have clear your energy field. So both of these things, connecting with your ancestors and syncing with the moon, have to do with higher level connection, have to do with gaining answers and insight and knowledge, not only into the universe and the things around us and these specific things, the moon and your ancestors, but yourself. The moon is a reflection of you, our emotions, the things that we go through, our cycles, if you have a cycle. And there's so much insight that we can gain from looking at where the moon is transiting, not only just in the universe in general, but in our own charts. We can find answers within the moon phases with our birth chart, we can utilize the moon and the different phases of the moon to help enhance our own energy and lives. So, connecting with, understanding, learning the moon, the lunar cycles is definitely something that may be helpful to you this week, especially if the sign or the cycle that the moon is in currently relates to what you're going through, or something you want to work on, or something like that. Then you have connecting with your ancestors. And like I said, again, this is a matter of tapping into the celestials, to the other side, to get information and insight and connection and understanding about where you come from and who you come from and the people and the culture you come from, because your ancestors, depending on how you believe, can be your blood, but they can also be outside of you. Like you can have ethnic ancestors and ancestors that you connect with because of the places that you live, or the people that you come from, but don't have a specific familial connection to you, or people that you love that were outside of your bloodline, or um, I feel like for me it's more so that way. For some people it's more so just your specific blood ancestors, but it's you know subject to you either way. It's about connection, right? It's about understanding and utilizing that connection and understanding to, again, enhance your life, to make things better, to help clarify your path, to get you answers, right? And then you have the clear your energy field, because when we're having our own anxieties or doubts or fears or whatever, we can build up negativity around us. We build it up and latch on to other people's energies. Latch is not the right word, but like collect, in a sense, other people's energies. And if we're not consistently cleansing that, getting it off of us, then that shit builds up. Then it builds its own gunk and funk, and it's even harder to break through, to be able to make shit happen, to be able to see and hear and connect. And so we need to periodically be able to um, cleanse and remove, but also fortify, protect, sweeten, add back in after that. So if you haven't done that in a while, whether that's through smoke like they're doing, or sound, or taking literal baths, or cleansing shower, or doing a cleansing working, whatever it is, this is definitely a week for you to do that. So this is the best self-care for you this week, pile 3. This has been your reading for this week. Thank you so much for reading with me. If you would like your own personal reading, definitely book with me at wildheartbotanica.com. We have 3 email readings and 2 live readings. If you're not already booked, or excuse me, if you're not already following me on this channel, subscribe on YouTube. Listen to Tiny Musings on Substack, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts, so you can listen to our monthly collective reading. So you can listen to part 1 and 2, which comes out in a couple of days, and all the other episodes that we have coming out on the podcast. And follow me at Tiny Divinations on TikTok and on Instagram. And again, thank you so much for reading with me. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate y'all so much. Share with me about your week, how things are, how this message resonates. Share this reading with somebody else who needs it. And if you have another pile, I will see you there. If not, I will see you in our next